I apologize. In our last video we got cut off thanks to a phone call. My bad. So I wanted to pick up where we left off on problem 16. We had done the absolute value of 8, which meant it was 8 away from 0. Then we put our minus sign. Then we did the absolute value of -3, which was a +3 because -3 is 3 away from 0. Now we can just finish our problem with 8 minus 3, which gives us 5. On the next part, we have 3 times the absolute value of -4. So we're going to do the stuff in parentheses or in the absolute value bars first. We have -4, and we're taking its absolute value. So how far is -4 from 0? It's 4 away. So all of that becomes a 4. So now we just have 3 times 4, which is 12. The next one has a lot of little symbols in it that could get confusing. This says 2 times the absolute value of -5 minus the absolute value of -6. So first we want to attack the stuff in the parentheses or in the absolute values. So in this absolute value is -5. How far is -5 from 0? It is 5 away. So we have 2 times 5. Now we have minus absolute value of -6. How far is -6 from 0? It is 6 away. Notice I put this one in parentheses so that I could still indicate this multiplication between the two things. And I didn't put that one in parentheses because it didn't have a symbol with it, and I'm not indicating multiplication. So here I have 2 times 5 minus 6. I do the multiplication part first, so 2 times 5 would be 10 minus 6, which would give me 4. In this next section, it wants us to compare each pair of numbers using a less than symbol, a greater than symbol, or an equal to symbol. So if I'm looking at the two numbers 5 and 8, which one is larger? 8. So we're saying 5 is less than 8, or 8 is greater than 5. You were probably taught in elementary school to either use the alligator. Alligator's opening up towards a bigger number because he wants to eat more. Or the Pac-Man. Pac-Man, of course, wants to eat more also. So whichever of those you use probably helped you get the symbol correct. Just remember that this is a less than symbol, and that's how we read it. It's the symbol that looks like a little L, which should help us remember it's less than. Number 20. We need to know whether -3 or -9 is larger. If I was to put them on a number line, this would be -3. -9 would be off over here. So the ones that are furthest to the right are larger, the ones that are to the left are smaller. So -3 is the larger one. It's the smaller negative, which means it's actually larger. Number 21, absolute value of -4. How far is -4 from 0? It is 4 away. So we're comparing the number 4 and 4. Those are equal to each other. For 22, we have -7, and we're comparing that to the absolute value of -7. The absolute value of -7, that's asking how far -7 is from 0. That is, started to write 0. It is 7 away from 0. So we're comparing -7 and 7. Which one of those two is larger? Of course, it's the positive one. So this is saying -7 is less than 7. Over here we have a +1/2 and a -5. Well, we all know that positives are larger than negatives, so our symbol would be open this way, saying 1/2 is greater than -5. Alright, down here at the bottom, there are 3 properties that we're going to be using: the commutative property, the associative property, and the distributive property. What I want you to do is I want you to take a look at these and see if you can tell what each one of them says. In this first one, it says A plus B is equal to B plus A. So to me, that means you can add them in either order. If I add 3 plus 7, that would be the same thing as 7 plus 3. Same thing with multiplication. If I add 3 times 7, that would be equal to the same thing as 7 times 3. Okay, that one makes sense. In this one, I'm just exchanging places with the two things. If the 3 was first, and the 7 was second. Then over here it became the 7 first and the 3 was second. So this one is just exchanging places. Alright, let's look at the next one, the associative property. And this one has parentheses in it. I do notice that the A, the B, and the C stayed in the same order. A, B, and C. So they didn't exchange places. In this one, they have the A and B grouped together. And in this one, they have the B and C grouped together. That seems to be the difference. So this one is our regrouping property. This regrouping property allows us to add these two together first. So I'll give you some numbers. We'll use 3 and 5 and 7 this time. This is saying if I add 3 plus 5, that would give me 8, plus 7 would give me 15. Over here, if these are the same three numbers, 3, 5, and 7, over here it says I'm going to use these two first. 5 plus 7 is 12, plus 3 would give me 15. So that's our regrouping property. The distributive property is slightly different from either of those two. Give you a second to take a look at it. This one you probably started looking at last year, towards the end of the year. Basically what this property does is it takes this A, which is multiplied times everything in this parentheses, and it goes ahead and multiplies it out. So it multiplies the A times every individual thing inside that parentheses. So this is A times B, which is AB, or A times B, and then A times C, which is A times C. We still have the plus in between them because these two quantities were supposed to be multiplied. So let's give you an example of that. Once again, I like 3, 5, and 7, so we'll just use those. So this is saying if I had 5 plus 7, that would be 12 times 3, which would give me 36. If I multiplied 3 times 5, that would give me 15, plus 3 times 7, which would give me 21. If I added those together, I would get 36. So it's saying I can add the stuff inside, if that's possible, first, then multiply it times 3, or I can multiply each piece by 3 and then add the two together. Same for the second one, except for it's using a minus sign instead of an addition sign.